Welcome back. You're still tuned in to Markets Today on CNBC TV 18. Let's get to all of the other top stories that we're tracking for you this evening. The fourth headline today, the Indian rupee continues to face relentless pressure. The rupee plunged to a new low today. $1 is now worth almost 82 rupees. All of the currencies, in fact, were under pressure as investors flocked to the US dollar since the US Fed Reserve started to hike interest rates. The rupee has depreciated 3% against the dollar just this month, and it has weakened by 9% plus since the start of this year. Lata Venkatesh is here with more details.
It's actually a double whammy now for Asian currencies. It's not anymore talking only about US yields. We have to talk about China. The Chinese currency saw a much lower fixing today. You know, Chinese currency is not entirely market determined. The PBOC determines a midpoint and allows the currency to float around it. The new midpoint, which everyone thought would come closer to 7.16 per dollar, which was yesterday's close, came in at 7.22, which was quite a surprise. They actually allowed or enforced a depreciation. And so all Asian currencies are showing that impact. And of course, the rupee was no exception. Right from the word go, we started off at 81.90. What dealers tell us is that there is a persistent dollar offering, which they are guessing is from the Reserve Bank. And they are guessing that because of this offer, 81.94 is not getting crossed. Also, the rupee looks like a relative outperformer because at 81.94, it is about 0.3 lower than previous close. The Korean won is 1.25% lower than yesterday's close. The Chinese yuan itself is down 0.75 versus yesterday's close. So clearly this is, a worldwide phenomenon. And just to add, US yields overnight crossed 4%, the 10-year that is, which is a fresh 13-year high. And the US data came very robust. Consumer confidence as well as new home sales. New home sales were 28% higher than June, the July numbers, whereas they were actually expected to fall by about 0.05. So, strong noises coming from Fed governors who spoke like Bullard and Evans as well. And therefore, the market now is not looking like there is any immediate peaking off of the dollar or bottoming out of the currency. At least for the moment, there's more to go.
Okay, all right, Lata. Thanks very much for that. Well, staying with the macros, the Bank of England has announced a plan to buy as many long-dated government bonds between now and October 14th to stabilize the financial markets. It also said that it would postpone next week's start of its gilt sale program. The Bank of England added that it would sell back the gilts it buys once the market conditions have stabilized, and that Britain's finance ministry had agreed to indemnify it against any losses. All right, let's get to the last story of this evening then. BHEL gained close to 2% after the company received an order for setting up the Talcher thermal plant. Vahishta Unwala is here with the details on this story.
Well, BHEL has announced a 1.3 gigawatt power project for NTPC at the Talcher thermal plant. Now, this is a brownfield project which is to be done on an EPC basis. Macquarie has expected the order value in upwards of 8,000 crores, and given that NTPC has earmarked 11,800 crores for the project, Macquarie has expected 21,600 crores of order inflow for FY23 for BHEL. And also, with no other major orders in the tendering stage, there are no expectations of a similar large order in the second half of the ongoing financial year. Also, with the Central Electricity Authority of India plan indicating 17 gigawatt incremental thermal power ordering in its base case until 2032, Macquarie does not yet expect a full-blown revival in thermal power ordering and sees renewable capacity addition to be the key driver of incremental capacity addition.
Okay, all right, Vahishta, thanks very much for that. Well, in the pharmaceutical space, Torrent Pharma was down by over 2%. This is after the company announced its plans to acquire Curatio Healthcare last evening for around 2,000 crores. Today, the company's management, or rather last evening on their conference call, said that after the deal, the margins for Curatio Health will be higher and that the company was not looking at incremental investments. Listen in.
In terms of cost synergies, what we are looking at is from a procurement perspective, so basically the COGS, there should be some improvement which will start flowing in because I think between Curatio and Torrent, Torrent has a better reach and negotiating power. The other one is, of course, the productivity improvement, which is going to span out over the next few years. And the third is certain fixed expenses where our cost structure is more efficient compared to Curatio. So once these businesses merge and come to the same platform, there would be cost synergies flowing in. On an immediate basis, at least for the next 1 or 2 years, we are not looking at any incremental investments.
Okay, well, meanwhile, Canfin Homes gained 0.5%. This is after the company's conference call in which it clarified that there was no link between the identification of frauds and the resignation of the company's CEO. The company also outlined its growth plans and said it would focus on the southern states, followed by the northern ones. Abhishek Kothari is here with the details.
As you mentioned, the Canfin Homes had a con call today earlier in the morning, and wherein they clarified over the fact that, there is no link between identification of frauds and resignation of CEO. So they have initiated the hiring process, that is to replace Girish Koski at the time when he retires or when he leaves the company. So total fraud amount is 6 crore, the gross number, and the net number is less than 3 crores. Remember that in an earlier interview to us, they had said that the fraud amount was 3.94 crores. So from there, it has increased to 6 crores. Now, frauds took place due to collusion and not due to any lapses in the process of the systems that they have in place. The number of clusters have increased from 14 versus 3 earlier. That is, the penetration has increased. And they also spoke about the industry, that there is growth that they see over the next 5 to 6 years. So they would continue to focus on the southern state markets and then focus on the northern states. They have reiterated their spreads and net interest margin guidance of 2.4 to 3%. I remember in an earlier interview, they had guided for a net interest margin of anywhere around 3.4 to 3.5. So there is a cut in the net interest margin guidance, and credit cost guidance for the upcoming quarters. They have said that it will remain between 11 to 14 basis point per quarter. So increase in credit cost would be only due to bucket movement of the loans, that is loans which are getting overdue over 30 days, 60 days or 90 days, so on and so forth. Back to you.
Okay, all right, Abhishek, thanks very much for that. That's on Canfin, but there were a whole host of other stocks which were in focus as well. Sunil Bhutra is here with the key buzzers.
4 stocks on my radar today. Supriya Life Sciences, where the CEO has resigned due to personal reason. The CEO is, of course, Shirish Ambaikar, who will be taking a leave or relieving from September 30th itself. However, he will be extending services on a retainership basis in the company, and the new CEO will be appointed, that is Mr. Rajiv Kumar Jain, from October 3rd. So that stock is declining on the back of this resignation. We have Gujarat Alkalis, which is trading in the green today because manufacturing unit of hydrazine hydrate that has started at their Dahej complex with a capacity of 10,000 tons per annum. It is a forward integration project to produce hydrogen peroxide, which is an import substitute for the company. Motherson Wiring, that is also surging in trade today because the company will be considering bonus issue on September 30th. And lastly, Godrej Properties, because they have acquired a land parcel in Bengaluru. 7 acre is the size of that particular land parcel in Indiranagar extension, and it will have an estimated booking value potential of around 750 crore rupees. So the street likes that, and the stock is higher in trade today.
Okay, all right, Sonal, thanks very much for that. Mahindra Logistics, however, fell in trade today. This is after the company announced that it will acquire Rivigo's B2B Express business. Speaking to CNBC TV 18, the MD and CEO of Mahindra Logistics said that even though the B2B Express business is losing money, it has its own unit economics. He also added that the revenue yield was positive.
What we like about the business is revenue yield is very positive, and the business has positive unit economics. What the challenge has been to scale the business up. Our intent is to turn it around to be EPS accretive in the next 12 months on a combined basis. From a revenue yardstick, probably around 650 to 700 crores is where we think it will essentially be EPS positive. The year we obviously expected to be going at the 20 to 25% level at an overall company basis, and we still believe that that's something which we are aspiring to do this year. Different markets have moved a little bit sideways, but broadly we still expect to be in range for the 20 to 25% kind of growth level for F23.
Okay, let's move on then. The insurance regulator IRDAI has pushed for insurers to offer long-term policies. Our colleague Yash Jain is here to get us up to speed on the exclusive details on this story.
Well, long-term policies is something we generally see on the life insurance side where there are longer tenure policies, but on the general insurance side, we normally see short tenure policies, be it 1 year, 2 years or 3 years, but that is set to change very, very soon. What we've been given to understand from our sources is that the insurance regulator has formed a 21-member committee. This committee has representation from the insurance side, the general insurance industry, from the regulatory side as well as the banking side. The committee is essentially going to be responsible to give the regulator suggestions on how longer tenure products could be introduced in the general insurance industry, particularly 3 business segments, the health insurance industry, the motor insurance industry and the property insurance segment. These 3 segments form major portion of the revenue for general insurance industry. The responsibility of this 21-member committee is going to be to give suggestions on what could be an ideal structure for long-term products in these 3 segments, what could be the premium pricing mechanism, also what could be the accounting strategy for general insurance companies on the premium which they receive upfront. We've been given to understand that the premium accounting method could be on similar lines as single policies on the life insurance side, where 10% of the premium could be accounted each year for the tenure of that particular policy. This is an important move, especially for general insurance companies. It will improve the stickiness or the persistency of customers staying with one company for a longer period of time. But of course, to get them and make them pay that lump sum amount for longer term policies, that will require some discounting, some mechanism so that they get attracted to these kind of policies.
Okay, all right, Yash, thanks very much for that. On that note, it's a wrap on this edition of Markets Today. Thanks very much for watching.